Probably one of the most important things you do when you're teaching the pole vault is to put your foot markers on the runway measured from the top of the back of the planting box. And write them right on the sides. We just spray paint them on with spray paint here at my place. In 10-foot increments is plenty good enough, although 5s are probably a little better. In the 30s, we put down each 30 because we catch each other's mid marks here almost every time you pole vault, all the way down the runway. This runway is probably marked out to 120 feet. Really good. It's also in the rules. The National High School Federation says you should do this. Then, you know, after they've done their jump over drills and everything, we select what we call a 3 left approach. That's what this hieroglyphics, this code means here. Your 3 left approach is done. You start from 3 lefts and you use standing grip plus 2 feet. And when I go teach, I just write this stuff right on the ground someplace or on the runway or someplace where everybody's on the same page. This information, of course, is also in your written materials. 3 left approach is, we don't even run back. You can run your step back from your takeoff position, but it's not nearly as accurate, and it makes it more difficult from a coaching standpoint. So what this little chart tells you is that for right-footed starters, that's the R category there across, and for left-footed starters, that's your starting distances based on how tall you are. So 5-footers that take their first step with their right foot should start from 29 feet. 5.5-foot tall kids that are right-footed starters start from 32 feet. 6-foot tall kids or so start from about 35 feet. And of course you can interpolate numbers in between those numbers if you're 5'9" or 5'3" and what have you. Those numbers are based on folks or high school kids of average running speed. A real fast guy, he might be a little farther back. A little slower guy than average might be a little closer. But it really doesn't matter when they're first coming down the runway because we're only starting with standing grip plus 2 feet, or 24 inches above how high they can stand up and reach, which we'll demonstrate here in a minute. Left-footed beginners, those are people that stand on their line and lean back with their left foot and take their very first step with their left foot. If you're 5 feet tall, start from 24. If you're about 5.5 feet tall, start from 27 feet. And if you're 6 feet tall, start from 30. So if you use this method, you just have to have the marks on the runway. Really important so that people know where they are. That's for selecting standing grip, that's for jumping from 3 lefts, your beginning grip. Once you can do a good jump from 3 lefts, a good jump up and stay right side up type jump, then you just read pole speed, and in reading pole speed, you just look at how fast their pole is rising to and going beyond vertical, and make a decision whether you want to raise their grip or not. When they got their 3 going, they'll want to lengthen their runs, so we use this formula here. We say that 1L, that's 1 left, in approach distance is your height, that's how tall you are, times 2. So if you're 5 feet tall, you'd back up 10 feet. If you're 5.5 feet tall, you'd back up 11. If you're 6 feet tall, you'd back up about 12 feet. And so, for instance, if a kid is on the runway here for his 3 at 30 feet and he's 6 feet tall, we would back him up based on our formula all the way back here to 42. And I've been teaching this method for over 20 years at my pole vault camps, and I'm telling you folks, it works every single time, as long as the guy takes a good big first step down the runway. If they shuffle on their first step, it'll be a little bit off, but they need to run aggressively with big steps anyway. So that's how I prefer to set up our runway. This is my runway here in Atascadero, California at my pole vault club, Sky Jumpers, and it's what we do on every runway, everywhere we go, set up a runway. This is my secondary runway. This is my beginner runway here, and same exact thing. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 20, Since the beginners run on this runway, we have a 26, 7, 8, and 9 because a lot of little kids will have mid-marks around there. There's all the 30s, 40, 50. This runway hasn't been used in a while, so we're going to set this thing up and straighten it up the next time we jump. But the marks are there, and they'll be fine once we get going.